Some people think I'm an alien. Not true. The system is fully capable of carrying biological cargo, which is,
Go back
people.
to this plant, this massive plant that we have out in Fremont, California.
Today, yeah. I never expected that we'd have this plant.
But it's an amazing place.
Yeah. And the amazing thing is, it's kind of full, which is, when we got in there, we thought, when we first got that plant, it's one of the biggest plants in the world. I think it's sort of, by footprint, I think it's maybe the third or fourth biggest manufacturer.
How many square feet?
It's 5.5 million square feet.
5.5 million.
Yeah.
So that's what, 100 and how many acres?
You mean under roof?
150 acres?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a General Motors building. Just to give you perspective, General Motors building, which is where the Apple Store is, that one block, that's 1 acre. This is 150 acres.
Yeah, it's crazy. You could go camping in there. It takes you a long time to walk from one side to the other. We have bikes in the factory, so you can just get around.
So last thing, we always ask everybody a series of questions, and the crowd favorite is always, what would be your mediocre superpower? Now, this is absurd to ask you because Tony Stark is partially modeled after you.
Right.
So you actually are sort of have real. So we were going to ask you to
he doesn't
downgrade.
technically have a superpower, I guess, except inventing technology or something.
Right. So we're sort of asking you to downgrade from that a bit. So an example of a mediocre superpower would be one of the best ones we've ever gotten is this guy who wished to temporarily detach his arm while spooning with a girl. Sometimes it's staying.
That's what he wants to do with a girl?
That's awesome.
Finally, you're obviously a very competitive person. You're competing with the likes of Jeff Bezos in...
Jeff who? All right, welcome everybody. Thanks for coming to this hole in the ground.
Hello, Mr. Musk. My name is Alex Perez. I really like your jacket today, and so it kind of got me thinking, has Tesla ever thought about going into the motorcycle business?
Yeah, I actually used to ride motorcycles when I was a kid, and I was dirt biking for 8 years or something, and then had a road bike until I was 17 and was almost killed by a truck. So we're not going to do motorcycles. I didn't ever expect to be involved in it because I thought it was the province of governments, and besides which it sort of seemed, at least 21, 22 years ago, that it was likely to occur because we went to the moon, and then of course there were people going to Mars, and we'd be establishing a base on the moon, and there'd been eventually a base on Mars, and that sort of seemed like the natural progression of things. And then amazingly it didn't happen. And I kept thinking, well, it's about to happen. And it just didn't happen. There's a Monty Python skit about this. Suddenly, nothing happened. Before you know it, nothing happened. I see a path to being able to offer tickets for someone to move to Mars. Also, they get a free return ticket if they don't like it. Some people are aware of that, but probably most people aren't. And you hear all these rebuttals like, aren't there all these problems on Earth that we need to deal with, and shouldn't we focus on that? And the answer is yes. Our primary focus should be problems on Earth, but I think that there should be some small amount that's given over to the establishment of a colony on Mars and making life multiplanetary. By small amount, I mean some number less than 1% of our resources. So, it's not as important as say healthcare, but it's more important than say cosmetics. I'm in favor of cosmetics. I like them; they're great. But lipstick or colony on Mars, I don't.
It's also a four-seater. Yeah. So it's a 2 + 2, 2 + 2. Okay, you can't put giant people in the rear seat, but you will put, a giant person squashed or a small person.
I kind of got myself in trouble because we had the Model S and the X, and then just for fun we tried to trademark the Model E, and then Ford sued us, or said they were going to sue us, so we had to change it to the Model 3, so it's S3X, Totally different.
So I guess when I say that we're about to unveil the D and something else, then it's, I kind of dug my own grave on that front.
When was the last time you astonished yourself?
I was in China meeting with some very high-level people, and I ripped my pants.
If you could take one person to Mars, who would it be?
But we're not like have to populate the planet or
No,
anything.
no, you don't have to. It could be a
Someone extremely fertile. I should point out that Iron Man was only partially based on me because I've got 5 kids and Iron Man didn't sort of swinging bachelor. But I guess it's kind of cool. And we've got an Iron Man statue that was donated to SpaceX by Jon Favreau, signed by the whole cast, including Scarlett Johansson and everything. It was kind of cool.
Everyone in this room is inspired by you. Who are you inspired by?
Well, Kanye West, obviously. It's not because of some epiphany that I had one day driving down the 405. That's how it gets translated somehow. I was talking about tunnels for years and years. For probably 5 years or 4 years at least, whenever I'd give a talk and people would ask me about what opportunities do you see in the world, I'd say tunnels. Can someone please build tunnels? So after 4 or 5 years of begging people to build tunnels, and still no tunnels, I was like, okay, I want to build a tunnel.
We saw the movie. We
Yeah.
saw what happened. He got back.
Yeah. So it was good. I actually enjoyed the movie.
Do you think he could have gotten back like that? Was that plausible?
Well, I thought there was some connection. It was like 80% scientifically correct.
Okay.
But they did connect a series of improbable events.
Such as?
Well, I mean, I don't think you can sort of just take off from Mars on an unguided rocket, really, and then prick your finger on the spacesuit and navigate to a spaceship. Right? Yeah. Not impossible, just extremely unlikely.
So the Sandra Bullock movie.
But if you're Matt Damon, maybe?
Maybe. You have some mad skills,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. I don't think the moon is necessary, Steph, but I think if you've got a rocket and spacecraft capable of going to Mars, you might as well go to the moon along the way. It's like crossing the English Channel relative to going to Mars. So it's like, if you have these ships that can cross the Atlantic, would you cross the English Channel? Probably.
But you don't see necessary from a logistics perspective.
No, definitely not.
Is radiation on humans?
Pardon me?
Radiation on humans a concern?
Yeah, I mean, things that can mitigate the radiation effects, certainly. I mean, I think the radiation effects are generally way overblown. Because if we went to the moon, went like 2 weeks in deep space, Buzz Aldrin's still around.
Many other folks that went are also in the audience.
Yeah, great. I mean, so like obviously, it didn't cause they're still alive and they're they seem
And
okay.
often I'll be told, but you could get more payload if you made it expendable. And so yes, you could also get more payload from an aircraft if you got rid of the landing gear and the flaps, and just parachute it out when you got to your destination. But that would be crazy, and you would sell 0 aircraft. So reusability is absolutely fundamental. It's also intended to be able to service the space station. I know it looks a little big relative to the space station. But the shuttle also looked big. So it'll work.
There's a lot of people, some of them citizen scientists, some of them they're just newbies when it comes to tracking things in space. They're going to try and track the Tesla and understand what's happening to it. Like that movie, Dude, Where's My Car? And other than the live webcam today, what is SpaceX going to do to interact with this community of Tesla trackers once the car leaves orbit? Do you have a plan, or are you just going to kind of wait and see what bubbles up on the internet and react to it?
We don't have a plan. No plan. The battery's going to last about 12 hours from launch, roughly. And after that, it's just going to be out there in deep space for maybe millions or billions of years, who knows. Maybe discovered by some future alien race. thinking, what the heck, what were these guys doing? Did they worship this car? Why do they have a little car in the car? That'll really confuse them.
The best SUV in the world. We want to do something, we kind of got carried away actually with the Model X. We was like, let's have practically every technology and whiz-bang thing we could possibly think of. The Model X is like, as a car, it's like a Fabergé egg meets a spaceship.
Another thing that you are talking about is you sincerely think that we should go to Mars, like that men and women should go to Mars.
Yeah.
Why do we want to go to Mars? It's uninhabitable.
It's very inhospitable. That's true.
It is. Like, you have to be in like domes and everything, and you're just
Initially,
Initially?
domes. Yes.
Really? How long before we could turn Mars into someplace where we could live?
It is a fixer-upper of a planet. At first, you're going to have to live in transparent domes, but eventually...
Yes, we're going to be huffing each other's stank.
Yeah, but eventually you can transform Mars into an Earth-like planet.
How would you do that?
You'd warm it up. Just warm it up. If you
with
want,
a blanket or with what? How would you warm Mars up? You know, it's a long way away from the sun.
There's the fast way and the slow way.
Okay. Give me the fast way.
The fast way is drop thermonuclear weapons over the poles.
You're a supervillain. That's what a supervillain does.
I have a little activity for you.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay. It is called the Fabulous Cup. It's full of fabulous terms. And basically what I want you to do is go through and define them as fast as you can. And you have 1 minute to try and define them all. Ready?
Sure.
Set, go.
Aliens? Well, I used to be one until I got my green card. Falcon 1, it's the rocket made by SpaceX, initial rocket. Golf cart, not a Tesla. Roadster, that's definitely a Tesla. Solar City, the future of solar-powered America. Triplets, I have them, they're awesome. I recommend them. CEO, yeah, I do that a lot. Avocado, it's great with guacamole. Impossible, my middle name, I suppose. PayPal, best way to pay on the internet. Electricity, the future of transport. That's it.
Awesome. That was pretty fast.
This is going to be real bad. I said terrible. It's going to be terrible.
I'm nixing the dancing thing.
Oh, come on.
Come with me where moonbirds hits the sky. And then you'll walk with me along the by on by. Okay, all together now.
My Little Buttercup.
My little buttercup has the sweetest
Smile. My Little Buttercup, won't you stay a while? Won't you stay a while?
moonbeams meet the sky. And you and I will walk the by on by.
Well, this is really winning.
Things were pretty tough in the early going. I didn't have any money. In fact, I had negative money. I had huge student debts. So, in fact, I couldn't afford a place to stay and an office. So I rented an office instead because I got a cheaper office than I could get a place to stay. And then I just sort of slept on the futon and showered at the YMCA on Page Mill and El Camino. I was in the best shape I've ever been. Go to shower, work out, and you're good to go. And there was an ISP on the floor below us, just a little tiny ISP, and we drilled a hole through the floor and connected a null modem cable. That gave us our internet connectivity for like $100 a month.
I've actually been a big fan of your games for a long time, and you played Fallout 3 all the way. Like, I really played that game a lot. I think it's every corner of that game. I played obviously Skyrim. I did not complete Skyrim. That was intense. I was like, this is a big game. Played Fallout 4. That was great. So, and then when I was having like a birthday, I asked for hey, could I have that statue of that weird-looking guy in the Fallout? With the 1950s guy with the, you know that guy. Anyway.
One?
So, yeah, it's a life-size statue of this 1950s dude in like I guess a Volt jumpsuit.
It's the Volt Boy.
Volt Boy,
yeah.
Exactly. Volt Boy
And you have this at home?
It was so weird having that at a party because like, most basically they were like two nerds that knew what they referred to, and we were like, yeah, okay. And everyone else was like, man, that's weird.